All right, so to wrap up our morning before we move along to lunch, it is my pleasure to introduce Don Jackson. The power of hope is a really important message for all of us who are touched by cancer, and something that we all should be keeping in mind. I met Don a few months ago when his name was brought to me as an advocate who's really interested in raising money to help support head and neck cancer research. And when I had the good fortune to have a conversation with Don on the phone, he shared his personal story with me. And I knew that his story would be a really powerful addition to our program today. So Don, welcome, and thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences with us today.
Good afternoon or good morning. When I was first asked to give a speech on the power of hope today, I did not think my badly weakened voice could do it justice. But I also knew I needed to try. My wife, Ann, an awesome caregiver and retired RN, sits by my side to take over if needed. Just a few days ago, I went online and found that research studies have positively shown that maintaining hope can have a strong impact on both your physical and mental health, especially when going through major medical battles, like many of us today. I totally believe that. I'm sure some of you here today already believe in the power of hope. I also know that when I tell you how strongly I believe that the power of hope has helped save my life, it will not resonate with everyone. But I certainly hope some of you will hear something from me today that will somehow help better your medical journey. Now, on to my story. Let's go back to late 2017, when I was diagnosed with a very serious parotid gland head and neck cancer that had already spread to my facial nerves, causing partial facial paralysis, plus some minor disfigurement and speech difficulties. A close friend, when he looked at me the first time, said it was an improvement. Both my surgeon and oncologist gave us an ongoing, very negative prognosis and zero hope. We were told there were at the time no FDA-approved drugs available for treatment. It would spread aggressively to my right brain and my right lung, and to prepare for hospice. He also said, "Get your affairs in order." I answered, "We're not having any affairs." Ann and I laughed heartily. He did not laugh. My online medical research actually confirmed their devastating diagnosis, with most medical sites giving me an average of 3 to 6 months to live at that time. Although depressed the first few days, I soon rallied by vowing to maintain hope and to keep a positive attitude. But how was I going to do that? My very first thought back those years ago was to remember my dad's strong fighting spirit. During my high school years, my father was hit by a drunk driver while walking and dragged over 100 feet under that car. When my mother showed me his shredded clothes, explained all his many major injuries, plus seeing his hardly recognizable self at the hospital, I sadly felt he'd never be home again. Even his amazing medical team never thought he'd make it, but he did. My dad never gave up his positive attitude, fighting spirit, and he always believed in hope. My dad remains my hero today, and my ongoing reminder to do everything I can to emulate his strength by never giving up hope or my own fighting spirit on this journey. Secondly, from day one, I knew Anne, my soulmate for over 45 years, would fortify my hope. She's always been a woman of strong faith, and unlike me, a devout believer in daily prayer. Along with a few friends and family members, she began praying for my survival. I'm now feel very confident and appreciative that those prayers have also been a major contributor, bringing us so many blessings. I want to emphasize this journey has been much tougher on her than me. Also strengthening my hope was knowing I'd have wonderful care with only Stanford doctors at the Palo Alto VA, one of the best VAs in the country, and also here at Stanford, one of the world's finest hospitals and medical research centers. Later that first year, a sense of major hope occurred when our zero hope oncologist left Stanford on sabbatical. Yes, thank you. He was replaced by Stanford's Dr. Albert Lin, normally a researcher. They needed a replacement, I guess. We got him. And trust me, at our first appointment, it was uplifting. He told us to forget all the negative prognosis because he's seen cancer patients leave hospice care. And he strongly believed, like Anne, for us to believe in prayer, hope, and miracles. His arrival was a transformative moment in our lives, giving us even a stronger sense of hope. Whenever I had a clear brain or lung scan, and there were many, he'd call us on the phone to say we'd had another miracle. If results came in late, he'd wait at the hospital to get the results and make an early evening call. How many doctors would do that? I hope more. Later in 2018, my head and neck cancer spread to my lungs, bringing me to stage 4 lung cancer, with a major surgery soon after, eliminating the use of 2 of my 5 lung lobes. But we still remained hopeful, since our worst fear from day one was always brain metastasis. And that had not occurred, and gratefully to this day, it's still not spread to my brain as predicted. We think this amazing miracle of zero brain metastasis has kept our sense of never-ending hope ongoing to this day. Another piece of significant hope happened, again that first month of 2018, that eventually helped save my life 3 years later. When doing my own medical research, I came upon a non-medical site called Smart Patients, founded by a Stanford med school graduate, where fellow patients discussed, interacted with others with the same disease. During the first week I joined that site, I read a note from a fellow head and neck patient. They shared that they'd heard a rumor that there were some labs opening up doing some new DNA biomarker tests of tumors, but they didn't know what it meant or how it might help someday. I took that advice, I acted quickly, and I soon found a relatively new lab in nearby Menlo Park called Personalis, also founded by 2 Stanford doctors. I quickly phoned the lab. A non-medical clerk told me, yes, we are doing tumor tests. but I know no details. She added, if you send us a tumor biopsy, I think we'll do the test. Our VA quickly approved my request and sent them a biopsy. Within a few weeks, my DNA biomarker test report came back, but lay unneeded in our home's desk and in hospital files for the next 3+ years. In 2019, we felt we were facing hospice care a second time. We were told I now had inoperable, untreatable lung tumors next to my trachea and esophagus. But within a few days, our original radiologist came to us and suggested a possibility. She said there was a rather new but very risky procedure called SABR, a high-powered targeted radiation treatment developed by Stanford doctors. Knowing it was SABR or death, we chose hope. And after 6 treatments, the tumors were gone. We felt we'd had another miracle. In 2020, a year later, we felt we had our even biggest miracle to date. Facing hospice care a third time, as 2 lung tumors were now attached to my trachea and my esophagus. There was still no possible surgery, still no FDA-approved drug, and even Stanford's SABR radiation was not an option. Unbelievably, the FDA approved the immunology drug Keytruda that very month for our type of cancer, our type of lung cancer. A miracle. But it gets a little bit more difficult, but to qualify or even try it, I needed that DNA biomarker profile. It was obviously impossible to get a biopsy for a DNA biomarker test because of the tumor's location. But as you heard earlier, I already had that report sitting in the files. Thankfully, I also came to find out soon that I had all the required biomarkers and did not have other biomarkers that I couldn't have. I had them all. And after a few infusions, both tumors disappeared. Another miracle. Thank you for that. Oh, did I get the wrong page? I was going to read this on my laptop, and we came here today, and my it disappeared. It was gone. So that's why we're reading it like this. Thank you. My immune system has now been fighting my cancer for over 4 years since Keytruda successfully triggered it in 2020, dramatically beating those first odds that those 2 doctors gave us. We knew medical science and unbelievable timing were our miracle saviors. But we feel my and Ann's fighting spirit, positive thinking, and strong sense of hope have always been involved for us. Eventually last year, I got around to sending a note to a very limited number of my fellow head and neck cancer patients at the Smart Patients website, explaining how, oh, good. The website had helped save my life, just to those patients, a few of the head and neck patients. Very recently, Catherine Byrne, CEO of Smart Patients, after reading my note on their website to other patients, emailed me asking if she could interview us via phone and email to write a more complete version of our story. She felt that sharing our complete story with many thousands of current and future Smart Patients members and through their Smart Patients blog, that our story might inspire others to believe there is always hope. I'm also pleased that Christy Linden, a Smart Patient staff member, is here today representing this wonderful patient community resource for all of us. I'd like to ask Christy to stand up for a moment. She's right over here. And Christy will be here during the lunch hour. I feel any of you want to talk to her. She's a wealth of information, and trust me, I owe my life to that website. I owe my life to patients, Smart Patients. And their brochures are out in the lobby. And anyway, and I encourage you all to pick up that brochure at one of the tables and sign up. It's an amazing website. It may save your life too. Although of much less importance, those of you interested in hearing more details about our positive journey, and again, I emphasize of less importance, filled with more hope and other perceived miracles, you can also pick up a copy of Catherine's story about us. Again, more importantly, pick up a brochure. And to also read about our visit to Personalis Labs that I mentioned earlier that was in Menlo Park. And you'll read an amazing story about that the staff and the researchers for the first time ever met personal patients. All their research up to our showing up that day was for big pharma research. They only had numbers. I was the only name. It was an amazing day. I'll let you read about it if you want to. In late 2021, I got really sick. It was worse than anything that's happened to me on my cancer journey. Bad shakes and vomiting continued for 2 days. But when a high temperature arrived, Ann thought I might be dying, so did I. So she wisely took me to the ER. Within 3 days, there were 4 different Stanford medical teams that took on my case for 3 days. Finally, the endocrinology team, a Stanford endocrinology team, came over to the VA where I was staying at the time, found the answer. I was going through a life-threatening adrenal insufficiency crisis. Shockingly, it's one of Keytruda's most dangerous side effects. The team immediately told us I'll need a daily regimen of hydrocortisone tablets for the rest of my life to ease ongoing imbalance issues and prevent a crisis return. In spite of this setback, we still remain very grateful to Merck Labs and Keytruda for saving my life. A balancing and exercise routine is now on my daily schedule. Although we've faced numerous medical setbacks, we've obviously been blessed way beyond my 1-year goal with these 7+ years. Our friends and even our doctors where is it? The doctors are divided. Sorry, folks. I wish I had my laptop.
Divided, 18. It's this one. Well, the friends are divided on what to believe.
Oh, yeah. Our friends and even our doctors are divided on what to believe. Has it been miracles, good luck, karma, or just wonderful medical care? Timing and new treatment discoveries? We'd like to think it just might be a combination of all 6. In any case, we both feel very blessed and are grateful beyond words. In closing, I hope you might consider the following. If your oncologist offers you 0 hope or gives you a negative prognosis, seek a second opinion from someone whose belief and hope aligns with yours. Also, ask for more information about a DNA biomarker cancer tumor report from a lab like Personalis that may be needed to qualify you for a new miracle drug or treatment. Next, Try to be a strong self-advocate, and I'm sure you've heard that earlier today, and do some valuable medical research to learn of your new options. And if you are fortunate enough to find an immunology drug like Keytruda, carefully study the side effects and immediately discuss possible abnormalities and those side effects with your oncologist before a serious medical event takes place. I sincerely wish you all here today will experience the power of hope and that amazingly successful treatments become a major part of your journey. Thanks very much to Stanford for having me here today and to all of you listening. And before I conclude, I'm going to go off script for a minute. This is not written down, but I sat there thinking, when they originally asked me to speak on the power of hope, I honestly thought I would have rather talked about the power of humor. Humor has been a big part of my journey. It's sure, prayer, everything else I've talked about. But I just wanted to give you a couple of quick examples. I think we got a little extra time, don't we, Heather? Can I talk another minute? Oh gosh, 1 minute. Well, I've got about 20 minutes of humor, but I'll give you 1 minute. When our doctors first told us we had no hope, they also told Ann and I to get our affairs in order. My response was, we're not having any affairs. I think we told you that earlier, didn't we? And when my brain MRIs come back and they're all clear, the reading is grossly unremarkable. Well, you know, I've known that all my life, and now it's official. Now, let's see what was it. Oh, well, I already said that too. Oh, I'll give you one last one. One of my doctors, and I've had many, after looking at my first meeting, and he looked at my record, looked at all the things I'd gone through, he looked at me and he says, how have you handled all of these curveballs that have been thrown at you? And it didn't take me long. I thought for a second, and I said, you know, when I was a kid, I could never hit a damn curveball. So it's about time. Thank you very much.